And welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We are here for some day 3 action, going through rounds 5 and 6. We're going to do this in a part 1, part 2 split. So Wednesday, if you really want to go to those deep players in 6 and 7, you can catch us then. We can talk about Equiminius St. Brown and a few other people who slipped to the 6th round. But first up, we do have rounds 4 and 5. But before that, we've got a bunch of beer previews, news to hit. But before that, as always, I am at Nick Sparts. To my left, Christopher Hopper here on the camera.
I am at Hot BFF with 2 P's.
Jesus Christ.
Hyping yourself up. And Dan Theory across the table from me.
At Theory BFF. What's up, guys?
I figured that's what you were waiting for.
I'm like,
it was either that or you forgot your name, and I'm not entirely.
Could have been both.
Could have been either one, given that it's you.
Vegas at the odds.
Yeah,
at
I
3
didn't know
to
what
2.
the odds were.
Vegas at the odds at 3 to 2.
All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We are going to go here through rounds 4 and 5, but before that, it's really, really hot in the studio right now, so let's get to a beer preview so we can start drinking that.
Beer Fuel.
And it's only going to get worse the further into the summer we get.
Oh, I know. Unfortunately, we're on YouTube, so I can't record naked this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
we could do a loaded box tribute and record shirtless one day.
That'll be.
I don't know if the fans are ready for that. Maybe.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're ready for
I'll have
that.
to ask Hurricane what she thinks of that.
Yes, we will.
All right, so we have Triptych on for the second time. Somehow only the second time.
It's probably because I'm afraid to over-feature them because I like everything they do. So I usually don't grab their beer for this. And because they're local, so...
Yeah,
Not that I don't support local. I love drinking local, but...
So I jumped on the beer list, looked through it. I went, we've only had Triptych on once. Then I was at Hy-Vee. I saw this, went, well, this is a special release from them. So we're grabbing this. It's going to be on the show.
I don't know how they've only been on once because we all love everything these guys do, but...
I've had no bad things from them.
I haven't either.
It's been pretty amazing.
You didn't like their one vanilla bean one.
Why would you not like vanilla bean?
I don't know. You didn't like it.
You didn't like
You had me finish the rest of it.
Really?
Well, I probably did then.
That was at D&D one night.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Huh.
This is Fly You Fools. It's a hazy double dry hopped India Pale Ale. Triptych's second time on the show. They're in Savoy, Illinois, which is just outside the University of Illinois campus in Champaign. Second time for them on the show. We have been to their brewery as well. Quite a fun place to go if you're in the area.
Yeah, I've been there 3 or 4 times. It's awesome.
I need to get out there again
Real good.
because they have fantastic beer. Let's hit the news, though, because we've got a lot of it today.
News.
All right, we forgot to mention this last time, but now it's officially confirmed, so our timing's pretty good. Jason Witten has now officially retired as of, that was Thursday?
Like 2 days ago.
He's going to join Monday Night Football for ESPN.
Yes, he's taking his talents to Monday night.
He is. So, Cowboys fans, he was a good one for you. It was a good one for a long time. Always reliable. Kind of the last of that group of super reliable year in, year out fantasy option tight ends from that era.
Oh, yeah, everyone else is long gone.
Everyone else is long gone.
I just want to see how long
It
this
was
goes
finally
for.
time for him to be gone.
Yeah.
Just like the Titanic theme is now gone.
Yeah, because the only other one from
It's
that,
like, this is amazing.
because the only one from that era that's still around is Antonio Gates, but he is no longer a reliable fantasy option.
Or on a team, right? Because it was kind of him and Dallas Clark and Heath Miller. and
Dallas Clark.
Tony Gonzalez.
Was a little bit before that.
It was a little before. Well, his Falcons tenure, though, lined up with that.
He stretched
Yeah.
into that era, but he
Yeah.
started before it.
He started before it. Antonio Gates. There was a lot of them back then. And now the tight end situation is dire.
Though we have some younger players who are like, if they could develop
We
into
hope.
something, this could get better.
Could
This
be
is-
the next generation of good tight ends.
The tight end apocalypse is upon us, though.
Yes.
It's looking pretty grim. Right
And then
now.
the Eagles had to go and draft Dallas Goedert to make Zach Ertz slightly less valuable.
And really kill Godert's upside.
Yes, there were both of them.
one of 2 tight ends we actually like from this draft.
Yep.
All right. On to slightly better news. Falcons signed quarterback Matt Ryan to a 6-year, $169 million contract through 2023.
Yikes.
They really want mediocrity.
He's
I mean, okay. For an NFL quarterback, yes. This is fine. This is what is expected.
Better than paying
given
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
the issue is always touchdowns with him. He's consistently 4,000 to 4,500 yards, but he's also consistently about 25 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, he's never going to be amazing unless he has another blow-up year where just everything goes perfect.
No, he
No,
won't be.
No.
He'll be a solid flex option.
Or a full-on starter if you're in
Or
Superflex.
streamer. Yeah, if you're in Superflex, then you'll start him.
But he's got some... adding Ridley does give him another weapon there. They added Ito Smith, another good pass-catching back. So he should still be very productive this year. It'll just be not...
How much can he be held back?
It will not be a top-tier QB1.
No.
It's going to be how much can he be held back by the offensive coordinator in the game plan.
Steve Sarkisian's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
As has been mentioned on the show many times.
Yeah, no, he's on the if he gets fired, I'm celebrating list.
Along with Marvin Lewis and Hugh Jackson.
Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson, and Dirk Cutter.
Yes, all
Dirk
three of those
Cutter.
I'm fully in agree with. Vance Joseph, I feel slightly less interested in seeing him fired, but I wouldn't be upset
He's
either.
an scapegoat that's
He's
not
like
very good anyways.
on the edge of being there.
One more bad season and you'll be
One
there.
more bad season.
Moving on to something else we want to talk shit about, the 2014 wide receiver class. 3 first-round wide receivers from that class, Brashad Perryman, Kevin White, and Philip Dorsett, did not have their fifth-year options picked up.
It's so
What a
bad.
shit show of a class.
They're fucking terrible. They're dead.
Yeah, it was a real bad class. It's what, Cooper, and that's about it.
Yep. Cooper and no one.
Yeah, out of the first round, you had
Yeah.
a Crowder and Diggs out of later rounds who were good, but for the first round, it was basically a shit show.
And even then, Diggs has had a ton of potential, but he keeps getting hurt.
Yeah,
and-
but
It was also a fifth round draft
And
pick.
Crowder's a wide receiver 2 or 3. He's not amazing, but he's been a solid NFL production. We're grading on a curve here.
I mean,
Yeah.
considering it was a 5th and a 6th round pick for those two guys, they
Yeah.
are
I mean, like,
amazing.
even Cooper hasn't really reached his potential yet.
no, but we're grading on a curve, so he's an A+.
This
For this class, amazing.
Yeah.
class
In the-
automatically
In the
gets an A.
in the previous class, terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Eagles signed Marcus Wheaton to a 1-year deal. I wrote singed, apparently.
He'll be sitting his death zone as he goes back on IR.
Yeah, he's not going to be anything on that team.
It's like the 6th option there.
He would be.
All right. The Colts drafted 2 running backs, so that means they had to cut one. So Matt Jones is once again taking his talent somewhere else.
Bye, Felicia. You can go fumble for another team.
That's right.
This morning, the Jets waived Bryce Petty, and then by this afternoon, the Miami Dolphins had already claimed him.
Might as well. I mean, see if you can develop him, or if he can beat out David Fales for a backup job,
Or Brock Osweiler.
or Brock Osweiler behind Tannehill. I mean,
And Matt Moore.
if in Matt,
Is he
no.
gone now?
Matt Moore's no longer on the team.
Yeah, if
Just
he,
kidding.
If he can, they can somehow develop him. I mean, it's not like Tannehill's the future there, so it was probably a worthy flyer.
All right. And then normally we don't talk about defensive players, but Cliff Averill did get released for an injury. So his career likely is over. He had that neck nerve injury problem.
I just don't see the note here. That's why I was like, huh.
No, that's because you copied it before I finished the notes.
I just stopped reading the news before it happened, so I'm surprised by everything.
It makes it better that
I mean, it's
way.
usually the last thing I add to the show. So
Right, so when I do my notes a week in advance, it's not there. Nick doesn't have a crystal ball.
yeah, I can't do the news 2 weeks in advance.
Well,
Come on, Mom.
sounds like your problem.
So any thoughts about them losing another pass rusher there in Seattle?
I mean, they just got Griffin, who can pretty well get after the quarterback. But yeah, that defense is definitely in a retooling, rebuild phase.
They're a don't draft this year because they're going to be. I mean,
Somebody-
unless they don't
somebody
lose
will spend too
Thomas or
much.
Chance
Somebody will
or-
spend too much.
Yeah, it's like
On name cliche alone.
They'll pay for the
cachet.
Cachet.
Yeah.
It's a cliche to draft the Seahawks too early.
No, it is. And yeah, they have Frank Clark also, who I think will get an increased opportunity share,
yes.
I do agree with that.
which is good because I own him an IDP.
It's all about you, Hopper.
Mhm.
All right, round 4.
That's why they do things for me.
Draft recap.
I just love this drop.
Good news, my 30 days expired, so I can go ahead and flip out sound packs and make more stuff.
All right, for round 4, kicks us off. Ian Thomas goes to the Carolina Panthers, looking like he'll be the heir apparent to Greg Olson.
This is, to me, it's the Johnny Smith situation in Tennessee. That's exactly what this is, in my opinion.
Yep, 2 or 3 more years of Greg Olson, and then they'll move on to Thomas.
Yep, and you might see him flash in the meantime, but I think it's 2 to 3 years of Olsen and Thomas is the heir apparent.
there's a lot of upside with Thomas. He's very athletic. He's very raw. He's already a good blocker, just not right quite there with the pass catching ability, and you can work with that with one of the best in the league in Greg Olsen.
Yeah, it's pass catching ability and route running are his two things. So he needs to learn how to be a receiving tight end. And this is a team that's developed Greg Olsen already. So
Yeah, and he's got the athletic ability to do it. They just got to teach him to do it.
Yep. All right. 403, Kiki QT goes to the Houston Texans, which I found this a little strange because he's very Will Fuller-like.
He kind of is, but he's a better route runner, and he's more sized for the slot than to just run deep like Will Fuller is.
I can agree with that.
So I think that with that slot position being wide open, I mean, Will Fuller is kind of the de facto other outside starter outside Hopkins. But I think with that slot position being wide open, that QT actually has a pretty good chance to produce this year.
I think it's gonna be a more punt returner. Dude, he still has to compete with Braxton Miller, which I know we don't think he's much of a thing. But Bruce Ellington, before he got hurt, was actually productive out of the slot for them. So
yeah, but
QT needs to bulk up. He's gonna need to just get bigger.
Yeah, he's barely over 180 pounds.
he is tiny.
If they find ways to use him, as a gadget player, plus he's a very good punt returner.
Yeah, he should immediately be their returner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving 404. Nyheim Hines goes to the Indianapolis Colts. But we're not sure it's necessarily going to be primarily as a running back.
They're saying something like a slot receiver, like a Ty Montgomery type of role.
And I think he's fit for that. He should be a receiving back, a slot receiver, a guy that's used all over the field. And they drafted Wilkins kind of to handle between the tackles. You've got Marlon Mack, who is kind of a similar skill set to Nyheim Hines, but he's bigger.
And more of a pure runner.
And and a better pure runner. So Hines has a really good chance, though, especially if his pass blocking can catch up, to entrench himself into a third down back role.
And he should immediately be their kick returner for sure, possibly their punt returner.
Indeed.
Yep.
There was a lot of picks kind of in this fourth round range where it was like teams are going out and getting guys who can contribute on the offense, but are also immediate special teams impact players.
Well, I'm sure a lot of these early picks, these teams had day 2 grades on them, they just fell to them into day 3. So I mean, like, even from a draft capital standpoint, don't just read into it as them being a 4th round pick. If these guys are going early, they may have some day 2 grades to them.
Yeah, another situation like Hines has a really good chance to get pass catching work this year. It just like QT has a good chance, especially if Ellington gets hurt again, to take slot work. There's just know their situation, know what the opportunity is now, but in the future, and that's what we're here for.
Yep. Moving to 405, it was real heavy on skill positions here at the start of the 4th round.
Good.
Antonio Callaway goes to the Cleveland Browns, much earlier than we were expecting.
Not good. I hate this pick.
Well, I'm going to get to the positive side first.
I like that the Law and Order draft got no reaction for Antonio Callaway.
Am I even surprised with Antonio
We're
Callaway?
so used to it at this point that we barely know him.
Yeah, if it had been another drop, I probably would have reacted. But with that, it's like that's just his intro music.
And Zeke, apparently.
He's a first-round talent with a ton of question marks, though. I oddly like this because he's landing with Josh Gordon, who's the guy that lost out on so many years of his career. If Josh Gordon can, this is going to sound scary, but if Josh Gordon can take a mentor role and straighten Callaway out, which is a possibility after turning his life around to get back into the league.
Yeah.
If he can take that mentor role and straighten Callaway out, they got themselves wide receiver 1 talent. And
they had so many picks this draft. They kind of filled most of their needs earlier.
yeah.
So
Why
take a
not?
luxury pick.
He's sitting as their 4th receiver right now behind Gordon and Coleman and Landry. And if he flashes, if he stays clean, then you've got either a Josh Gordon or a Corey Coleman replacement.
Yeah, probably Coleman would be my guess, but either would be fine.
There's been
Gordon's-
reports that they wanted to trade Coleman anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean, this could be.
He
And
could
he's
be
a
their
very
three.
good, he's a very good mold and frame for wide receiver
And
too.
Gordon's
To play opposite of Josh Gordon.
only on a 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's that's what we hope, to see happens. But there's a lot of personality in this locker room. Mayfield, Gordon. You have all the issues with the coaching staff and shit like that. I'm not saying, I won't say that I hate this pick. I just hope he doesn't, get the same, type of urgency or a type of urges that Josh Gordon seemed to not be able to beat for 3-4 years. But like his is mostly just weed. With Callaway, it's
bunch of stuff, including weed.
including weed, and he can't seem to get on the right track. And we hope that Josh Gordon can be some more of a mentor.
Weed, credit card fraud,
Sexual assault.
Was it like Grand Theft Auto in there too?
Grand Theft Auto, not the video game.
Yeah, he had multiple issues. He's going for the I want to do it all bucket list on the crime aspect.
He's about to get a grand slam for that.
But he was an early 4th round pick, which was earlier than I thought he was going to go, which means he has a much longer leash than if he'd been a 7th rounder UDFA.
Yeah, he's got a ton of talent, so it's worth the pick, I think, just based on a talent standpoint. It would have been worth a second. But yeah, especially since they filled their other needs earlier. I actually like this. And he's worth a end of rookie draft flyer if you need a wide receiver.
And if he busts, they had 7 picks before this or whatever, so whatever.
Yep.
Kyle Lauletta goes to the New York Giants at 408 after they had just taken Davis Webb last year in the 3rd round.
They took Davis Webb 2.0. This is a battle for who can be the better version of Davis Webb. Can Davis Webb be a better Davis Webb than Kyle Lauletta?
So
stay tuned to New York Giants training camp to find out.
Now, I do think Lauletta profiles better than Webb did. So if of the two, I'd put my money on him. But it just makes me laugh that they took Webb and then they basically took slightly better Webb in a round later the next year.
I don't like either of them to be the heir apparent. I am kind of outside of the we're high on Lauletta side of things because I'm not.
I think he is. What they're hoping
we're not
is
high on him.
Yeah.
No, I meant
I call him Nathan Peterman 2.0.
I meant the NFL Network.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody that was hyping him pre-draft because he shouldn't have been that hyped. I think he profiles as a backup / journeyman potentially for a starter. He's not the future here. I mean, and taking him in the 4th round, I'm fine with that because you're not drafting him to be the future in the 4th round.
No,
but right after Davis Webb makes it weird.
I mean, it just means that they don't believe in Davis Webb, but also believes or makes me believe that they think Manning has at least a couple more years left to him. Like you don't pass on Darnold and Rosen and those guys if you don't think that Manning is going to at least give you 2 years of production.
Yeah, and so Manning has 2 more years on his contract. They can cut him after this year and save $17 million in cap space.
I don't think they do.
I don't either.
I don't think.
I think they just they'll
unless
restructure
they suck
his
again
contract
this year.
Maybe I don't know.
We thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders last year, and we were wrong. So who the fuck knows?
I really don't care about their backup situation, but it is intriguing in terms of like a 2 QB league because I took Lauletta and
it's worth a stash.
It's worth a
just
stash.
in case.
I mean, any backup that potentially has some juice is worth a stash, and that's the type of format.
Yeah, especially behind a guy that's going to retire in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
412, Mark Walton goes to the Cincinnati Bengals, which I thought was unfortunate because I really liked him heading into the draft. But
I like this landing spot as the heir apparent to Gio Bernard.
Yeah, but you got to wait for Gio to be gone, which
should be next year.
Yeah,
he's
a UFA. I thought next year.
No, he's under contract for 2 more years. They can cut him next year and save $4 million. Otherwise, he'd be UFA.
That's right. I read it. I didn't write it down.
But yeah, it's possible that Gio's gone after 2018, but I'm not expecting it. And still, Mixon is still a fantastic pass catching back. So even if Gio leaves, that doesn't guarantee a lot of touches for Walton.
I get that. I'm just saying.
It's true, but Marvin Lewis is a coach there, and he had Gio and Jeremy Hill, and they both got kind of an equal split. Do you think he changes his philosophy on using multiple backs? I think Walton's probably at least got some change of pace split back value in, deeper leagues where you have to start a flex or something like that. I think that he's worth that bye week fill in.
Yeah, he probably can get up to a 35% touch share with Mixon. I was hoping he landed in a spot where it could be closer to 45.
You know who's not there that Walton could take that role? Jeremy Hill.
They were really not even using Hill by mid-season last year anyway, even before he got hurt. So, I mean, you're right. He'll probably get touches. I think he's immediately the running back 3.
I think it's going to be annoying is what Cincinnati's backfield's going to be.
I mean, it's Marvin Lewis.
It's been annoying
it's Marvin
for
Lewis.
fucking years.
It's always annoying.
It's going to keep being annoying.
Yeah, AJ Green's fine. Everything else, just kill me.
Pretty much.
Which sucks because we like Mixon's talent, but I think that they're going to keep not letting him be the every down back.
All right. I wrote down the wrong pick on this one because I have 412 listed twice. I think this was 415. Deshaun Hamilton goes to the Denver Broncos.
It's another slot guy. They continue with their succession planning. The question here is going to be, is he more talented than Carlos Henderson?
Which I didn't think so on tape.
Dan?
Depends what they think of him because he was hurt. Like he missed all last season. I forgot what the injury was.
It was a hand ligament.
You spend 2 high draft picks on a receiver after spending, a 3rd round on Henderson last year. This just means that they want to secure their 3 receiver sets. It's just whether or not, because both Henderson and Hamilton play somewhat similar roles. Henderson's more of a yak guy, but he can play inside and out just like Hamilton does. But Hamilton's more of that possession receiver, which they both kind of fit the mold of what Emmanuel Sanders brought to that team.
Yeah, and assuming Emmanuel Sanders hangs out, they still, like I said, they have outs on both receivers at the end of this year. They do go full rebuild.
I think one of them's gone by season.
Their succession planned. It's just a matter of, are you throwing Deshaun Hamilton or Carlos Henderson being the replacement for whoever leaves, assuming that they run Thomas, Sutton, and Sanders as their three until one of them leaves.
Yeah, I think. Well, or I could see it being Thomas, Sanders, and Henderson if they feel Henderson's more developed.
I could too, but we'll have to see how that all.
They'll get Sutton on the field. You don't spend that high of a second.
He'll see snaps. He may not be their main guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of Sanders or Thomas is gone before the season starts. As
they trade one of them,
they trade one. I don't know what the cut situation is after post-June cuts.
Sanders isn't bad to cut. Thomas, they really can't cut this year.
Okay,
yeah, they can't cut Thomas until next year.
Okay,
all right. Pick 420, Seattle. Real funny. Will Dissly goes to the Seattle Seahawks. He's a converted defensive lineman who converted to tight end his last year in college. He's actually
pretty fun to watch on tape.
I actually enjoyed watching him.
Like, he's raw as fuck.
He looks
a pass catcher, route runner, but man,
he looks a little awkward out there, but he's just running people over.
He looks like Jimmy Kleinsasser with a little more athleticism.
Carrying guys with him. He's 6'4", 267.
Yeah, he's a big fucker.
And he wasn't the most technical in his blocks, but if he got his hands on somebody, he just ran them over.
Well, man, he's still learning how to play offense. I mean, he's a converted defensive lineman. He didn't have a lot of production. He had some last year. I mean, that was where all of his production came from, but 0 drops. He shows soft hands. And the route running is very, very raw, but
once he had the ball in his hands, he did damage too.
It's also Seattle. There's not a lot of competition outside of nobody here.
So Dixon,
and
Luke Wilson with 2 L's.
Luke Wilson is with the Lions now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
So
Luke Wilson replaced.
It's Nick Vernette's there.
Yeah.
So it's Dixon Vernette. It's kind of a broken up core though, so Dissly could be the guy if he develops. It's just going to probably be a few years.
He's an interesting dark horse.
Yep.
This is like Seattle's attempt to draft a run blocker early.
Could be.
But not draft a tackle until the 7th round, 6th round.
Yeah. But yeah, he's an interesting name. When he was drafted, this is the first guy that I went, who the fuck is that during the draft?
Oh, yeah.
So we made it to the 4th round this year. Well done, guys.
Yay. So we made it to day 3.
Better than before.
And we only until round 6, this was the only one that I was like, who the fuck is that? But yeah, Will Dissly, definitely a name to keep an eye on. He popped enough on film when I went back and watched him that he may be worth a stash if you're in a really deep tight end league, or just a name to know for if you start seeing him pop in training camp maybe a year or 2 down the line.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Durham Smythe goes to the Miami Dolphins. They grabbed Gesicki in round 2 and Smythe in round 4. It looks like they're trying to just solidify their entire tight end core in one draft, and this will be their blocking.
This is how you do it, Baltimore, by the way.
Yeah, this is a perfect compliment. It's not like Baltimore where you went and drafted 2 receiving tight ends
that are very similar.
They got guys that are polar opposite at the tight end position. Durham Smythe is a great blocker, not used as a pass catcher. Gesicki, exact opposite. These guys are going to complement each other for a long time to come.
Yep, and I think both can hit because Smythe was by far my favorite blocking tight end in the draft. Mm-hmm. So
because he got good size,
and he just trucks people. It's great to watch. If you like watching blocking tight ends, go watch Durham Smythe.
He blocks like the tackles and guards they had there at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I understand. Josh Adams got 4. It makes sense why Josh Adams got
Quentin Nelson,
and he didn't get drafted.
Yeah,
that's what makes sense.
That's why
exactly.
He had so much blocking.
So get off that Josh Adams hype train.
Nelson, McGlinchey, and
Mike McGlinchey, and then
Smythe.
Yeah, put those 3 guys on one side and just have Adams run behind it.
Yep.
Yet no passing game.
All right. 426. Ito Smith goes to the Atlanta Falcons, which I actually really like this landing spot.
Coleman's in the last year of his deal.
He's in the last year of his rookie deal. I don't think they pay up for 2 running backs.
No, I think Ito's,
and I think they just drafted the replacement.
I think that's Ito's role after this year.
I like this spot as a draft and stash in those leagues. After, we talked about this before hopping on. The running back in these rookie drafts dry up really fucking quick after the first round. There's a couple guys there Then there's guys like Ito Smith who have a lot of upside after this year. And like these are your good,
He's
a draft and stash kind of guys.
He's stout enough to run between the tackles, but he's athletic enough and very good outside of them. So,
and he's a fantastic receiver. His receiving production in college was unbelievable. So that's what they use Coleman for now. He's a perfect complement.
Yeah,
for that.
a good yak guy. He's a perfect Tevin Coleman replacement.
Yep.
So I think that's literally who they just drafted. So if you own Tevin Coleman, he will be going somewhere else next year.
And you're happy.
Possibly.
Maybe.
There's a lot less good landing spots for running backs after these last two drafts.
They'll go to Tampa Bay and just ruin all the
ruin everything.
Love.
All right. Let's get the gloves off. Kalen Ballage goes to the Miami Dolphins at 431.
I laughed so hard. That is fantastic.
That's the Miami Dolphins GM pulling up.
I laughed so hard when this. I was like, I thought of Hopper immediately. I'm like, man, this is like the perfect combination of him either going to laugh really hard or just cry.
My first note is a ton of laughing, and then Kenyon Drake just locked this job down. His upside's Damian Williams. I'm not going to talk a lot about Ballage. I've talked enough about Ballage.
Yeah.
We've got into this a bunch. I wrote an article saying I do like this landing spot because for some reason the Dolphins and Gase just don't believe in Drake as a starter. I don't know why, because with Hopper, I like Drake as as an every down back. But as soon as the guy got traded, it was Damian Williams and Drake for the first 3 weeks until Williams got hurt. And then there was nobody else there, so Drake had to be the guy.
And boy, did he produce.
And he produced a lot more consistently than Ajayi did when he took over that spot. But Ballage isn't an ever down runner. He's just that big third down back who can't run between the tackles.
Kind of what Damian Williams was.
Yeah.
Yep. So I projected him to be about a 20% touch rate his rookie season. The rest will be Gore and Drake.
Yeah.
So I think Drake's probably capped this year, probably at about 45, 50% touches. And then Gore theoretically will retire after this season, and then we'll see.
He's on retirement tour now. I don't think he'll have that.
So he's going to every team.
I don't think he'll have a huge. Yeah. I don't think Gore will have a huge role this year.
I would expect him to have 30% of touches.
Yeah, I don't think he has a huge role, but he's gonna have some.
He'll be enough to annoy Drake owners.
Yep.
No, I think Drake owners are going to be pissed this year with Ballage and Gore there. But if I was a Drake owner, I would have panicked a hell of a lot more if this had been Mark Walton, Ito Smith, John Kelly.
If this pick was higher and it was actually worth more.
Yeah, higher in a guy who I already can see running between the tackles.
Higher and a better running back.
Yeah.
Would have made me.
Agreed.
Better peer runner. Yeah.
Though I'm seeing Ballage go in the second round right now, which I think is
that's because
crazy.
of what we just talked about. Is the running back well.
So if you need a running back in this draft class, you have two choices. Either one, you're not getting a running back in this draft class, or two, you trade up into the first round. Those are your options.
Yep.
Or you trade for one.
Or you trade for a veteran.
Which is what you should do after the first round.
All right. Pick 432, Jaleel Scott goes to the Baltimore Ravens.
This is one of the more intriguing moves in this round, I think. He's big body with a ton of athletic ability, which, Willie Snead isn't that. And I just lost track of what
Crabtree and John Brown.
John Brown isn't that. Crabtree.
This might be the first time I've ever seen a team completely change their receiving core from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Every single player that's projected to be in the depth chart wasn't on there last year.
Yeah. The only one who might is Perriman, and he's due $600,000.
No, he's cut. He's
due $650,000 on the third day of training camp, so I think he's probably gone before that.
You don't draft two receivers.
No, and Jaleel Scott's so much different from anybody else that they have, being the big body with a ton of athletic ability. I mean, he was the most athletic, big-bodied guy, I think, in this draft.
Right next to Lazard.
No, Lazard was more athletic.
You guys like Lazard?
Right next to Lazard.
Yeah.
But he's in a spot with a ton of opportunity. He made Sunbelt defenders look ridiculous. I'm not saying he's a lock to win something, but he is different than the other receivers, which is something to like. Different is good.
So, and to project out after 2018, because I don't think Scott does anything this year. They can cut Snead, Brown, and Crabtree after this season, saving $10 million in cap space and only eating $5.5 million in dead cap. So
I think Scott could do something this year. John Brown can't stay healthy. Willie Snead can't stay healthy or off the suspension mark. He could have a chance. And I'm not saying he's a better talent than Jordan Lasley, but I think he gets the first crack at it.
And he's different, unless you're stocking slot receivers.
Yeah. Well,
he's a red zone.
Not everybody can play the slot.
He's 6'5", 218, 220. He's a big threat in the red zone.
Whereas Lasley's more like Crabtree or
Lassie's like every other a lot of other receivers in this draft class.
Yeah.
All right.
He is.
Jamon Moore to the Green Bay Packers.
He's athletically off the charts, but I still think ESB is going to outperform him.
He's a different kind of athletic, though, because he's more strong and bursty than pure speed.
He's raw as fuck because he played for Missouri. And he played in that like Baylor style offense where they run 3 routes and they're all spread out. It's gonna be a bigger learning curve for them, but this could be their project receiver.
Cobb's a UFA after this season too, so that's something to watch with Jamon Moore.
And that was what I specifically noted, is he profiles more as an Anquan Bolden possession receiver, which is more of a Cobb replacement than a Jordy replacement.
Yep, I think ESB is a Jordy replacement.
ESB or the kid out of
Valdez Scantling.
Scantling, yeah.
Yeah, no.
If he gets,
Hey,
he's gotta make the team.
They drafted Scantling before ESB.
I know they did, but I still don't.
That's because of all the reports of why he fell.
Yeah. I still think ESB is the most talented of the 3.
If he can get his head on, ESB is the most talented. That's not even close.
Yeah.
It's just, is he going to get his head on straight? Because ESB is either going to be, people will be like, how the hell did he go in the 6th round? Or it's going to be like, he's just going to disappear from the league in 2 years.
I'm nervous for him.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds to the Arizona Cardinals.
It's not worth anything. They've got David Johnson. They got TJ Logan. But as long as Johnson's there, nobody's going to have enough to do anything else.
I like the landing spot just as a precaution to not lose their receiving back. But they drafted TJ Logan last year, so
I think I like Chase Edmonds as a complete back way more than I like TJ Logan. I think Edmonds immediately comes in and he's your David Johnson handcuff.
I think Logan's a better receiver and a better space guy.
How big is Chase Edmonds?
Logan
214?
Yeah. I think Edmonds is definitely a better runner, but Logan had a lot more explosiveness.
I mean, Logan was like getting shot out of a cannon. He posted the top 40 time for running backs last year, didn't he?
Yeah, and it showed up on tape too.
Yeah, he's stupid fast, but he's not really that complete of a running back. Whereas Edmonds is still really athletic and is more of a complete runner.
Like I said, I think that Logan's better in space, but I wouldn't want him to have to handle, first, second down work or
5'9" tool.
Anything not in space.
That's decent weight for that height, though. It's not ideal, but it's solid.
He's the same size as Ito.
Yeah. So, yeah, Edmonds is a guy to keep an eye on. I think he's your best. If you're looking for a David Johnson handcuff, he's your best bet.
Yeah. But not any more than that.
Dalton Schultz to the Dallas Cowboys.
Blocker.
Yeah, this is their Jason Witten blocking replacement, not receiving.
Whereas Gathers is going to get the receiving work.
He's got to make the team. There's been reports, because I watch Chat Sports when I watch the draft. They're on YouTube. They're big and more of the of the online community. It's where like Mitchell Rentz and those guys come from. And a lot of those guys are plugged in to the Cowboys, being that they're based out of Dallas. There's a lot of reports saying that Rico isn't even the top in the depth chart. It's not even close, and he may not make the team.
Yep, the guy, I'm pulling up the guy's name who is...
Tom Downey's the guy that covers the Cowboys. He's the one that does a lot of their draft coverage, too. He's the one that was the first one he pointed out.
It's Geoff Swaim.
I saw him.
Is the name to look at. Apparently, they're likely going to take a committee approach between Blake Jarwin, who's mainly just a blocker, Gathers, Schultz, and Swaim are the 4 names. Swaim is the one that their people are kind of eyeing right now, though.
A TEBC? A TEC?
TEBC?
Tight end by committee.
Tight end by committee.
None of these are... No redraft value to these guys. Very little dynasty value. 1 tight end. There is intrigue in 2 tight ends.
I mean, because if a name ever comes in here, you're just going to knock
just
this
hope,
out of the water.
And they may... I don't know. They may just not use a tight end as a receiving threat.
Yeah, I don't think Schultz is anything more than a blocker, though. I think
that's what he showed from Stanford.
Swaim and Gathers are going to be the 2 that
I agree.
You watch for those receiving duties. So I don't think this is very fantasy relevant.
All right, deep breath. That was a lot of people to talk about in round 4. It's time for a beer review.
Beer review.
What is the percentage on this? I don't see it anywhere.
Since they only distribute in Illinois, they don't put it on the box.
I still love the name.
It's probably like
Fly, you
6
fools.
or 7.
So this is this was the Wizarders Never Late. It's done with different hops though.
Yep.
So it's very similar to that beer. Overall though, if you really like dry hopped stuff, it's real heavy on that. Great flavor though. It doesn't have a ton of hop burn, but it's got a lot of hop flavor to it.
It tastes like pot.
It's real skunky, yeah.
It tastes like pot, which is weird because it's not dank hops, but it tastes like pot, and it's got kind of that flowery, leafy, like earthiness to it. It's not citrus hops at all. It's not juicy hopped.
Yeah, citrus hops is the Wizards Never Late.
Yeah.
This was the other type of hops that's commonly used, and I forget the name.
It's Simcoe and
Simcoe.
Apollo.
Yeah, this is Simcoe hops. So if you're looking for a really solid double hopped IPA, real solid. It's strong. I can feel it after 2/3 of the beer here.
It's not even that bitter, which is what you normally see from more of these double IPAs, which is what turn a lot of people off. This one it drinks like just a normal one.
It's got a good flavor
with a lot of real intense flavor.
But if you like weed, this beer is for you.
Yeah,
specifically the taste of
the
weed.
taste of it.
If you love to eat your weed, you may like drinking this.
Yeah. Thank you, Triptych, for being on a second time. We will have to get you on more. I will make sure Hopper doesn't overexpose us. But
I've got like 4 different Triptych beers downstairs.
All right.
He's just going to open up his own.
We'll see them next time.
No, like I said, I intentionally keep them off the show just because I don't want to overexpose to them, because I would do Triptych probably every month if I was just putting things on here I knew I liked.
So, and not to talk crap about them, we actually need to slow down on Epic, on Evil Twin, because we've had them on 3 times in the last 3 months.
All right.
It's a great name and they make great beers. It's not their fault that they're delicious.
All 3 of them have been fantastic. We have enough other breweries out there that we need to.
We gotta stop buying from the same breweries.
I blame their Evil Twin.
God.
Justin Watson, Nick.
On to round 5. So pick 7 in round 5. Show favorite Justin Watson goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Damn it.
This is because he's buried.
He is
at sea.
He's blocked as fuck. You're hoping in 2 years that he can find a way to be the third receiver here. If Jackson's gone and
Humphreys
will finally just retire.
I think Humphreys is probably his easiest spot way into this lineup, because you got Godwin that's waiting behind Jackson,
who Justin Watson basically profiled as Godwin.
It's Chris Godwin.
Yeah, their profiles are almost identical.
It is.
So it's like, what? There's a lot of places I wanted Watson to go, and then they're like, the Buccaneers drafted him. I'm like, early 5th round. That was a little earlier than I thought he was going to go. But why did he go to the Buccaneers? They already have Chris Godwin.
I assume 5th round was going to be his landing spot because he got that invite to the Senior Bowl, and he had such a great pro day. I thought the 5th round was his biggest spot to go.
Problem is, you got Mike Evans. You've got 2 tight ends that you're going to have to find receiving work for.
Yeah.
You've got Chris Godwin, who's already flashed that he can perform at an NFL level.
Yep.
Deshaun Jackson.
I think he's the 3 now. I think Godwin's going to be the 2. I think Godwin showed enough late last year in that rapport with Winston.
Where are you putting him, though? The slot? Where are you going to stick Godwin?
He can play both.
He can. Humphreys is typically their slot receiver. He's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So
if he makes the team.
Yeah. If he makes the team. Jackson,
I agree with you, though. There's too many mouths to feed.
There's a lot of mouths.
And it's not even that fault. It's fucking Dirk Cutter who runs a very vanilla type of play calling.
With so many weapons, I don't get it. But moving on, in terms of next year, where we might start seeing some Watson flashes, Deshaun Jackson's owed $10 million in 19 with no guaranteed.
He's getting cut.
He'll be cut by that point
because
or he'll retire.
They'll have Godwin, and I think that they don't need to re-sign Humphreys either with Watson there, and then you run Evans, Godwin, and Watson.
And that is a real scary trio once you throw Brayton Howard onto the field, too.
It really is. And Ronald Jones.
Yep.
Don't forget him.
No, we go back and listen to day 2 episode from last week if you want to hear more about Ronald Jones.
Tampa Bay is interesting. I'm really happy I ended up with Jameis Winston. I had to fight for that. For what I spent on him
I thought you got a good value for Winston
on top 2. Yeah, I had to fight for it. We're like the only people that are high on Jameis Winston.
I have to defend myself from that list. And you guys want to take a listen to our recap of the Dynasty.
Oh yeah, I should have shouted that out at the beginning. So here in the middle of the episode, quick shout out. I did a guest appearance on Top 2 Pod, so go give that a listen. We just did a Superflex 2 tight end auction draft, so we kind of go over a strategy for that, and then just what we thought about different values. There's some debates for different players and different price points, but it was at Top 2
It's
Pod.
a very good listen, especially if you're newer. auction guy, like even for just for anything.
Well, I mean, it covers auction. It goes over a deep 16-team Superflex 2 tight end league. So
with tight end premium.
So it's got a lot of interesting kind of moving parts to it. So if you're looking at possibly joining some more kind of complex leagues this offseason, it'd be a good one to just listen to and get some analysis on.
Yep, it was myself, Top 2, and Chris Swoboda. Soda Vodka. That we're on that. So check that out if you get the chance.
All right. And then back to the 5th round. Tony Fumagalli goes to the Denver Broncos at 519.
I really want Italian now.
I already had a ton of pizza today. I'm good.
It's like he's worse Jake Butt.
Yeah. With theoretically healthier knees, but missing a finger.
Yeah.
Mr. Nine Fingers.
They just drafted Jake Butt last year, too. He didn't see the field at all. So
he was hurt last year.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
Yeah.
He's not a lock to have this job. It's going to be a competition between those two.
They barely even use tight ends to throw to. So
the whole tight end core is a little weird. I mean, the Brady Case Keenum, who likes to get his tight ends involved. We saw that with Kyle Rudolph last year, but none of these tight ends are Kyle Rudolph. You have
a couple of them could be
4
in a couple
receivers.
Of years.
Yeah, you could. If Jake Buck can come back from his ACL injury completely, that should be his job. But Fumagalli could have a chance because there's nobody else behind Jake Butt.
Jake Butt in this class would have been tight end 3 or 4.
With the ACL tear, he probably would have been the 5th tight end taken after Andrews.
Right. Sorry, I forgot about Andrews. Yes, he would have been 5. So, yeah, I don't know. Fumagalli, I wasn't high on him. I know some people were, but I didn't think he was as good of a blocker as he was hyped up to be because he doesn't engage. I didn't think that he was as good of a route runner as he was hyped up to be.
Yep, and he's behind a guy who's very similar, who
was better at those things.
Yep. And Tony Nine Fingers Fumagalli sounds like he should go join the mob.
Yep.
And then
or make me delicious ricotta cheese pasta, because that's what this sounds like.
All right. Keeping with tight ends, Tyler Conklin goes to the Minnesota Vikings at round 5, pick 20.
I like this pick.
2 seasons blocked by Kyle Rudolph, but it's a potential succession plan.
And, I mean, Kirk Cousins does use 2 tight ends, so they may start running some of those systems to support Kirk, and you can see Conklin on the field.
That's true, because you don't really have a clear answer at your wide receiver 3 either. So
just run 2 tight ends.
Healthy, yeah. But they've been trying. The Vikings have been trying so hard to find a second tight end or their concession plan to Rudolph if they let him go.
Concession plan?
Whatever.
He's serving nachos and hot dogs outside.
Or I thought he was, calling to say that he's conceding the race.
Oh, maybe he is. Maybe he just wants to give it to Rudolph.
Tyler Conklin, you are now.
David Morgan is now yours.
They're upgrading their pizza. He's going through changing prices to make it more like the Falcon Stadium.
$5 beers for everyone.
$5 beers.
All right.
That may be where he ends up.
Maybe.
We'll find out.
All right. So to quick talk about Conklin, he is pretty much stopped until either Rudolph is gone or they cut him. So he's gone after the 2019 season unless he gets extended. He does have no dead cap after the 18th season, though. So if they decide Conklin is the guy after 1 year, I'd be surprised, but it's possible Conklin could be the guy.
I think they let him go just because there's too many other players for them to pay that are younger.
Yeah.
Rudolph seems like to be the odd man, which is why I think they've been trying to draft tight ends, trying to find a somewhat replacement to him. We've seen it for 4 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On to Darius.
I didn't mean to do that.
All right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The car's pulling up for Darius Fountain. Pick 522 to the Indianapolis Colts. This is their highest receiver drafted when they really didn't have a ton of answers at the wide receiver position, so that surprised me.
Yeah, his best season was 66 for 943 and 12. Granted, not on a very productive offense, but he's big enough to play outside. His pro day numbers were absolutely massive. He had a 42.5-inch vertical, 134 broad, 4.46 40. But he joins last year's version of him with Krishan Hogan on this team, and then Deion Kane's there also. So
Hogan,
you got some competition, and Hogan
just exploded off of his off a player profile there. Fountain's his burst and catch radius though is 95+ percentile. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, they added Doris Fountain to this year's. He's this year's Krishan Hogan, I think.
I would have get at the Justin Watson, but yeah. But either way, I mean, he's raw-ish. He played against FCS competition, I'm a little concerned just by watching his tape if he doesn't have the speed or the position ability to create separation consistently. But he does win at the high point, which is great to see.
He does. He adjusts and tracks well. He plays versatile. He's got great hands. And I noticed he had a pretty good double move also.
Yeah.
In the limited tape
he had
I watched.
a great double move.
That was a great double move.
But it's also against FCS competition, so which is good to see. I mean, I think he had a 32.4 dominator rating, something like that. He had a 73rd percentile dominator, which isn't bad. It's good.
36.8.
Well, either way, it was upper 70s percentile, which is right where you want to see a guy like him. You want to see maybe a little bit higher, but
there's opportunity.
There's opportunity here, which is what you want to see.
Well, and he wasn't just used as a deep threat. They were throwing him a ton of underneath stuff too. So they were using him. He was basically all they fucking had.
So they have some really athletic guys here, but it's anybody's guess at who's actually going to win that out.
Yeah. The only advantage I'd give Fountain over Kane is that he was drafted earlier.
And
Hogan. Yeah.
But Hogan wasn't drafted. He was UDFA by the Cardinals. Let go. They got hurt. I like Hogan still because there's one guy here and that's it. And that's just TY.
Yep.
This wide receiver 2 spot with Andrew Luck is wide open.
So we still need Luck to come back to actually throw the fucking football.
And there's Chester Rogers truthers. So here we are.
No, we are not Chester Rogers truthers.
I picked him up.
Your 2018 Indianapolis Colts.
John Cena.
He's the wide receiver 2 for the Indianapolis Colts.
It'd be an improvement. All right, pick 525, Jordan Lasley to the Baltimore Ravens.
Another receiver with drop issues added onto this team.
See Scott Jaleel for the things I like and don't like about this.
I literally wrote see Scott, Jaleel for depth chart analysis.
That was funny because that's the first note I have on it. And I copied these way before you put any notes down.
Well, no, these were in my notes that I didn't share to you guys.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I had done.
It's pretty much the same. I think he's blocked even more than Scott is because at least Scott has the big frame to him.
He's unique.
Jordan Lasley is basically John Brown.
He's John Brown and Willie Snead.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
with an attitude problem.
He and Willie Snead are almost identical.
Yep.
So yeah, Lasley. The main thing about him is he did have a absolutely dominant last year before he declared for the pros. So he's shown us he can be a very productive receiver at a big time program. So you just hope that can translate to the NFL. I like him as a take a shot candidate late if you're in a really.
He's like Callaway, where it's one of your last picks. He's got the talent to be higher than where he gets drafted.
Well, Callaway I think is going earlier than Lasley by quite a bit, but
true. He's not as blocked as Lasley.
Callaway is more talented than.
Oh yeah, much more talented. Lasley's not nearly as athletic.
No.
All right, Jalen Samuels goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 528.
Would you draft Kyle Juszczyk?
No.
That's what Jalen Samuels is.
Yeah.
Depending on what they want him to be. But either way, he's blocked wherever he goes.
Yep. I think he'll be fun to watch in the NFL. I'm going to enjoy seeing him play.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be hard.
He's going to be a good NFL player. Teams are going to love him. He's throwing it back to last year's draft, but versatile.
Yeah, he's all about that versatility. I had to flag him as my wide receiver / tight end / running back 1.
I'm just interested to see how how they actually use him because he won't see the field year 1.
Gadget player 1.
Yeah, because there's Bell, you got McDonald, James, Connor. So the 4 obvious the 2 places he can go are blocked by 2 players each.
He can play out of the slot.
The ridiculous receiving core is
are you going to tell me you believe in Eli Rogers?
I believe that James Washington or Juju are going to be there.
I think Juju's plays outside.
And then Washington will play the slot.
No.
Washington will bust in the slot.
They might keep Washington outside and keep Juju in the slot.
I could see that too.
So James Washington will be on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he will.
He was a second round pick.
Yeah, he'll be on the field.
No, I was just saying he'll be on the field and nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That'll be blocking Jalen Samuels, who I don't think will have a chance with.
Yeah.
He's playing fullback. He's lead blocking for Lev Bell.
I think Samuels gets 100 snaps this year.
Yeah.
I think he could be practice squad at this point. I don't know.
All right. Jordan Wilkins to the Indianapolis Colts. Finally a good landing spot for one of these kind of okay backs.
And we like
him. They snagged a guy to run in between the tackles, which they desperately needed. His college tape was good, and the opportunities there. He's at least going to compete for between the tackles work. He's completely opposite of Nyheim Hines, so I'm not worried about that. Nyheim Hines is a guy that needs to be used in space. Marlon Mack is kind of what you got to watch here.
I wish that Wilkins would play a little bit bigger to his size, but he, at
He's a good
6'1",
runner, though.
215, he plays more loose. He runs more elusive than his size would suggest, but he doesn't run with the power. But he should have the opportunity here. Like, none of us believe in Robert Turbin, who for some reason is still on this team. Matt Jones just
I
got
don't even know
waived.
why he's still in the league.
I don't either.
I don't either. I don't
Matt
think
Jones just got waived, and Max going into soldier surgery. Like,
Yep. And
this could be his shot to start early.
Well, and the Colts just added multiple offensive linemen, including the best one in the draft.
Yep.
So their offensive line should be improved. Run game should be better. And Wilkins, I think, is the best player they have on the team to run between the tackles.
He's one of the better just last round of your redraft. Not just Dynasty League, but redraft one of the last round. You can just hey, fuck it.
I mean,
Boom.
I put the note here that, hey, you can probably grab him in the last round of your rookie draft or he'll fall out as a UDFA.
If you want to hear me
I'm already wrong about that because I've been doing mocks and he's going in the second round.
if you want to hear me write about it,
Everybody thought I reached on him at the end of the second.
That was also super flex.
It
and
was,
started
but
premium.
Still, every other running back went in the first.
Yeah, I think people.
That's where they all go.
People have already decided, for the most part, that Wilkins it's either Wilkins or Hines is the ninth back at this point.
He should be.
Not at my rankings, but he's my 10, so you know who's ahead of him.
Yeah, we won't say his name.
We won't have to say his name.
Mike White to the Dallas Cowboys, 534.
It's not Mike White. I can't wait for Dak to have 2 bad games in a row and for Dallas fans to start.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Dak comes out and shits the bed again, that Mike White has an outside chance. But here's the problem. Cooper Rush came into camp and performed really well last year and performed really well when he did have to get into a game. And Mike White has to beat him out for even the backup job.
Yeah, but we liked Mike White. We thought his game was pretty good.
We did. Cooper Rush surprised a lot of people, though, and I liked what I saw from him in the NFL, too. So there's going to be a backup fight here, and when Dak falls on his face.
Yeah, I have a little
Not
bit more
if, it's when.
faith in Dak than you guys do, but
Yeah.
It's not that I don't have faith. I just don't think Dak's the future of Dallas.
I just don't think Dak is going to be the difference maker franchise quarterback that's going to get you anywhere.
I don't even know if any of the guys on their roster is. I mean, Dak is a good mobile game manager. I mean, he's what Wilson was when he entered the league, but Dallas doesn't have a good defense.
I mean, if you're describing that, you're describing Alex Smith.
But they have Zeke.
But Alex Smith was the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been.
He should. No, I agree, but they had more faith.
Hindsight's
in him
2020. Remember that, guys.
Yeah, sometimes.
All right, anything else on Mike White?
No, I just think that I like the talent. I really like the arm talent. It's going to be an interesting backup battle to watch.
It'll also be interesting to see if they decide they want to have him as the backup when he's such a different player than Dak.
I will.
It's his differentiation from Cooper Rush that I'm worried about.
But I will say this. It's good that Dallas is at least drafting quarterbacks just in case if Dak is the answer. That was the one big criticism that I had on the Vikings when they drafted Teddy. They never drafted a quarterback to at least either be a backup or at least be a pure developmental process.
Yeah, I hate we're just going to have this borderline inept journeyman veteran that we're just going to have there and hope we don't have to break the glass.
If you don't have a true veteran backup to him to at least cover his ass if he gets hurt, start drafting players because you never know. Look at what New England did with Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Oh, Garoppolo was a second round pick too, though. But
still.
All right, last pick of the fifth round, Marquez Valdez-Scantling goes to the Green Bay Packers.
I don't think he makes the team.
I was wholly unimpressed by his tape, and I was really surprised to see him go here. And I think that Moore has more raw potential, and EQ's a better on-field option than Valdez-Scantling. I saw some stuff about Valdez-Scantling off the field, and in the good way. I mean, he's a character guy.
Good.
So that's good. He's apparently got good work ethic, so maybe. But I still think out of the wide receivers they drafted, I think he's third best.
He's big and fast, but doesn't have great hands.
Yeah.
And he comes from an offense that was
he doesn't really know how to run routes. He lacks technique in how he attacks the football. He is one of the fastest receivers in this class. I think he is the fastest. I think he ran like a 4.3 340. Yeah,
I think unofficial.
So he was the fastest. He's tall. If he can develop, he is basically a Jordy clone.
So he's Martavis Bryant. He's big and fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but hopefully you can develop him to run better routes than Bryant.
Jordy was a late bloomer, too. Just remember that.
Most of the receivers that have blown up in Green Bay were late bloomers.
Yeah.
But he does have Rodgers. I mean, if he makes this team, at least he has something that,
I mean,
they drafted 3 receivers for a reason.
They're looking for at least 1 receiver replacement, probably 2, because I think Cobb's gone after this year.
They drafted, I think, 5 receivers in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Cobb is gone after this year.
Yeah.
We said that earlier.
I'm saying they don't re-sign him.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that.
So they're looking for 2 replacements. They don't want to put a lot of value in it yet because it's not yet an emergency. But they're trying to hit on 1 or 2 of
You
these
hope
guys.
something hits.
Yep. One of these
I just
late
thought
rounds.
that the order they were drafted in was curious.
Yeah. So that does give a little bit of credit to Scantling, but I think for ESB, it's all the off-field shit.
Yeah,
It is.
I think so too. I think he's by far the most talented of the 3 on field.
I mean, you can make an argument he's the most talented receiver in this draft from a physical aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, I can't believe that he and his family are that much of a head case.
Well,
Right.
it's him. Well, when we get to him,
Yeah.
some of the rumors that came out of why he dropped.
Preview for next episode.
Yeah.
But that's it for the 5th round. I don't think we have anything else to add on this. We're mainly just going through depth and just letting you know some names to watch at this point, so it's not much of a bow to put on this stuff.
Right.
Anything else you guys want to touch on, though, before we call it an episode?
No, sir.
All right. Well, as always, at Beerfield FF on Twitter. If you want to follow the show, Beerfield Fantasy Football for YouTube, where you can catch the shows. Please try to watch and subscribe there. We're really trying to get that to be one of our main focuses right now because we're going to be doing a lot of live content during the fall. Hopper and I, at the very least, Dan, hopefully we can get on this year. To get on here, we can talk about any breaking news, answer start-sit questions, things like that. That's all done on YouTube. So if that's so please try to pump that up and get subscribed so you can get ready for that when we actually hit football season. Individually, I am at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury sitting across from me if you're watching on YouTube.
At Theory BFF.
And then right in this dead center, because he likes to have himself in the focus, is Christopher Hopper.
It's actually because the wall outlet's over here and I control everything. At Hot BFF with 2 B's.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll catch you guys next time on Beerfield Fantasy Football.